Hello everybody and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Sorry for the delay, I had a bit of technical difficulties because the day before, well yesterday, I was fiddling about with the emulator and I had to set it back to what it originally was. Anyway, I can't remember what we were doing last time. Well, I can. We were dealing with Chief Gant and we wanted to investigate his office and he suspiciously won't allow us to. So, I guess it's back to the drawing board. We're just going around here. I can't remember where we were meant to go. I'm just checking. But yeah, busy day. It feels like ages since I've last streamed because it was, what, on Friday? Like, so I to date the episode, but it's been about 3 or 4 days since I've last streamed, so to me that's a lifetime. Criminal affairs is probably where we're meant to go. Bingo. Got it in a few. Okay, let's see. Oh god damn it, Gumshoe, I was drinking. Didn't expect it to be that quick. Hey pal. Detective Gumshoe, weren't you in a meeting? I was just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long in the meeting? Actually, I had to serve everyone coffee. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No, why would you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. Sorry, I've still got the remnants of a cough. I'll just have to clear that before I do it on stream. Okay. It's almost like the battles between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. I think we've been here, so we don't need to really examine anything. Edgeworth's crisis. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Skye is the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence he presents in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going about Mr. Edgeworth. God, I can't pronounce anything right today. Those who don't like him haven't been able to do anything because of his amazing talent as a prosecutor. But now with his... Are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. And Mr. Edgeworth not only had that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know for the making of enemies. Hey Dick, keep up the good work. Yes sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. Seems you don't have any problem with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyways, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Actually, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seems generally concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find anything? The only evidence Doc left behind during his final attack was during his final attack. His final attack, you mean? When he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl. Me. Seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with a murder weapon. Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress.
Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. Might jog his memory.
Let's ask about Doc's crimes first. Joe Doc was 42 at the time. At the crimes. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman.
Businessman? What made him take to serial killing?
One day, on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car.
With his car? So, it was an accident?
An accident, yeah. But it transformed him into an animal.
An animal?
Oh, don't you dare. Don't you dare. Oh, okay. A kid walked by and killed him too. Oh, I can't read this. It's just quick. I apologize. It's basically telling you about how, like, he killed someone. He killed someone in a car accident, and a kid came and he killed him. And then Jogger came and killed him as well. He seems like a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in. Yeah, but in the middle of the questioning, he fled the murders when he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone, but fortunately, he was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed.
That last witness. It must mean Emma.
Let's show him that murder weapon.
Which is definitely the knife.
About this. Hey, don't tell me that.
It has a tag attached to it, with a label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of.
What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, the knife's been locked away in a locker.
On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. And was...
Nope.
And was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler.
That's it. Now I remember what. God, I cannot speak today. I apologize. Now I remember what part of... I will get this right. Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. Nailed it. Third time lucky. When you showed me with that knife, it all came back to me.
Well, what is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again.
Just adjust my mic. One moment.
This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it?
That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at, and it had his fingerprints on it, too.
But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right?
That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken.
You don't have to take a good look to notice that.
Yeah, well, anyway, take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in.
Where is it? Or where was it?
The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound.
Did it match Dark's knife?
You bet. Down to the last fiber.
That's pretty, conclusive.
Okay, we'll have a look at that when we have the chance. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know.
Can I ask you one more thing?
What is it? If it's money you need, you should go ask Chief Gant.
It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The chief's out now, and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around if that's okay.
Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door.
What? Really?
But if I let a civilian in there, I bet I'd be charged with breach of trust.
Breach of trust?
Simply put, I'd be canned.
Oh.
Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you.
How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's.
That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died.
Oh.
So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office.
I wonder if there's something we could show him that would change his mind. Or that would make him change his mind.
Okay, I have no idea. We'll threaten him with a knife. Just check in. It's the SL9 incident. Bunch of people. Head prosecutor. Lead witnesses. The Skyper. Let me share you a little advice with you as a detective. If you don't have a clue, keep your trap shut. Keep that in mind. Sheesh. Stabbed in the back, died from a punctured heart and lung. A knife tip was in the wound. Okay, I'm just trying to think what to show him. I've been studying on those files. There's nothing wrong with Mr. Edgeworth's presentation. I think people are accusing him of injustice. I, for one, ain't buying it, pal.
You're looking into the case for Mr. Edgeworth?
Yeah, it was a pretty big deal while it was going on, you know. After all, the serial killer was on the loose.
But Lana was pretty clear in her confession. She forged evidence in order to prove Joe Dark guilty.
Looks like I'm gonna need someone to tempt him. Maybe I can ask Thingy again. What's her face? The trying to think what her name is. The lady here usually. She's usually here. She's the one who gives you the food and stuff. Maybe I could go to maybe Edgeworth's in now, actually. Maybe I could show him that. If not, we're just gonna have to circle for our evidence. Well, he must be in. Wonder if Edgeworth is back yet.
There he is. It looks like he's writing something.
Huh? What are you doing here? You sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh? I've had to live with the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me?
Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you.
That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. So, what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. Well, we'll talk to him first, and then we'll find out what that scrumpled bit of paper was. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I can do can erase that fact. But you didn't know, did you? I mean, that the evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error, and the responsibility is the prosecutor in charge. That fact remains no matter what excuses I might have.
Mr. Edgeworth.
I take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it all come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? First last year's trial, now this one. Seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves.
Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial.
Tomorrow is the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this. What do you mean? That list of evidence, it seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. It's only half as long as most lists? That is odd. After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but at the time there was only one thing on my mind. I'll use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty.
Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time.
That picture? Something seems strange about it. We'll show him that in time. Could you tell us again about what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered? You were participating in a ceremony over the station, right? You're participating in a ceremony at the station? Right? I've never cared for ceremonies, so I had to attend this one. Ugh.
Because you were awarded this?
Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. Well, you know, you can always not. Do it all the time at, like, you know, loads of events. Like, oh, unfortunately, blank can't be here tonight, but I'll accept it in his stead. In his stead, sorry. Anyway. I finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department. You finished up at the office? Yes, just odds and ends, clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is until I was asked to take something back.
Take something back?
This.
Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he?
Yes, it was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to? That's right. Okay. We'll examine that piece of paper. Ooh, I wonder what he was writing before.
Come on, Mr. Wright. Let's take a look.
You crazy? Edgeworth's sitting right there.
Just distract him. I'll go check it out.
Hey, Edgeworth. Is that Detective Gumshoe out the window there? Oh no! He's gonna fall to the ground! Hold on. First let me see what this girl is doing crawling around my feet. He didn't even look. Well, it wasn't the most foolproof plan, Phoenix, but, you know, A for effort.
What? Letter of
You can't read, I'll read it for you. It says letter of resignation. Resignation, Edgeworth? You don't mean... I'm tired, Mr. Wright. I feel as if something inside me has died.
But Mr. Edgeworth, none of it is your fault.
I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. The path I've walked hasn't been just the path I've walked hasn't been a just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either. Uh-oh. I think he's serious.
Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something.
This letter of resignation. I wonder if I can use it for anything. I'm just gonna slip it in my pocket. Produce it to the judge and be like, he's resigning. I win by proxy. It wanted me to check out, wanted me to just show him the photo, didn't it? This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of the Prosecutors trophy.
Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me.
I think I've noticed it too, Emma. Yes?
The trophy Mr. Marshall is holding? It's a little different than yours.
Yes, you're right. I remember now. Remember what? That was the official prosecutor trophy used until that time. There's a story behind it.
A story?
Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with two characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story? Me? Sure, everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it, though, for, Emma's sake? Emma's sake. Very well. Long ago, in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day, he presented the king with two items. The first was a halberd he'd claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute. Those claims contradict each other. Very perceptive, but then again, you've heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very descriptions of these items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out to the merchant, the merchant was left speechless. And thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born. If that's actually true, that is very interesting.
Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and the broken knife symbolize...
Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words. But it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion. Even if it results in something as ugly as this.
Wow, thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today.
That's, funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? I'll have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished. Chief Gant. They say when there's smoke, there's fire. Apparently, I was so caught up in the smoke, I lost sight of the truth. Edgeworth. That was alright. I have no right to serve as a prosecutor.
But Mr. Edgeworth, you're only doing your job.
I've always made my own decisions about what I can and cannot do. That hasn't changed. Forgive myself. Forgiving myself is something I cannot do. Uh-oh, I think he's serious.
Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something.
I think I can use this letter of resignation to you know, give Gumshoe that good old kick up the backside that he needs to get let us into Chief Gant's office. Excuse me. Would either of you care for a quarter-pound of roast beef? Miss Starr. I guess she's out of lunches. You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's... Oh, brilliant. I never thought these words would be coming out of my mouth live. You know, for the world to see. Kind of like the first person who sucked a... kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago. Everyone in this trial is involved in the SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence from that case was due for transferal. This can't be all attributed to a mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? You know that little scene I happened to witness? The instant Lana was stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten. The Star's hatred towards Lana. It all dates back to 2 years ago. May as well ask her a few things. Joe Dark. That's a name I'll not soon forget. We trailed him. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though, must have been going through hell. You mean because of his brother's death? They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her? Lana Skye. My sister? The best of the best were put in on that SL9 case. Of course, they were led by that legendary duo. Lana and Chief Gant? That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out. You mean with the forging of evidence? Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear while other items were kept secret. But you didn't have proof? But you didn't have proof anything illegal was done. I'm proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us, save Goodman, were relieved of our duties. Most without even so much as an explanation. That Lana Skye transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lana Skye was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. She was being used? Damon Gant and Lana Skye. 2 years ago, Gant was chief detective and Lana second in command. They were the best. They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damon Gant's magnetism in particular was almost unreal. His magnetism? By that I mean his ability to attract evidence. He produced the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled.
Incredible evidence? You mean... Oh yes, there were rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him though. I take it she's talking about the forged evidence. Back then, everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Really? Oh yeah, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated everything crooked, and always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall? When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't know if Jake would ever have recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. Miss Starr. That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that? It's all coming out now. Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence. Chief? That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There was only one thing left for him to control, and then no one could stand in his way. The prosecutor's office. What? You mean that's why Lana was transferred? If he could control the chief prosecutor, he could control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. But how could he control Lana? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude. There must have been a reason for her change. At last, I'm finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Miss Starr. You listen to me, rookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been. Okay. I think with that, we need to go to Gumshoe.
Oh, you're back. You're still here? I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ.
You're a DJ as well? If I'm not mistaken, I think he means desk jockey. Oh, that DJ.
I gotta admire your persistency, but my answer's still no. I'm not letting you into the chief's office, period. It'd be my neck on the line. That office is the last crime scene in the SL9 incident. I have to take a look in there. There's gotta be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. Oh, I think I will. We scare him. What's this crumpled up piece of paper? No way! Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious.
Is he ever not serious?
I can't believe they pushed him this far.
Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible.
At first I thought he was cold as ice. But now I know different. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence. But we betrayed him.
Detective.
That's it. I've made up my mind.
But,
Here, take my ID card.
We can't do that. If someone found out, they wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report.
Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated.
What?
So at least let me do this, for Mr. Edgeworth's sake.
All right, Detective. Thank you. Let's go into the chief's office. I'll just move my chair and cough, and we'll move up there soon. Again. Just need to reposition this mic again because I've moved it in slightly. Here goes, Mr. Wright. Oh, doing a thing where I talk and having a remnants of a cough does not help. Open sesame. Anyone finds us now? Detective Gumshoe's a goner.
If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out.
Eek!
Yeah!
Sorry, I thought you were a ghost.
I didn't even know you could slap a ghost.
Ah! Detective Gumshoe. What are you sneaking up on us like that?
I wasn't sneaking. I was just, worried something might go wrong. So I came too.
You're here, but then what's the point what's the point in giving us this ID card? It's almost like the game needed something to, you know, to trigger the event.
Hey, don't do that to my card. I hardly ever get a chance to come in here. So I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now.
You really want to get fired, don't you?
Not if we're lucky. Now come on. Let's see what we can find out.
Got a bad feeling about this. Let's give it a good old examine.
The chief's organ sure is a sight to behold. Occasionally we hear him playing from the criminal affairs department.
That's on the 2nd floor, and this is the 15th.
When a detective screws up, the chief calls him to his office and makes him listen to the organ for hours.
What's so bad about that? Music soothes the soul.
After that, the detective can't hear anything for days except the ringing in his ears.
So it's an instrument of punishment, literally. But aren't the chief's ears affected?
He never listens to anyone anyway.
That's besides the point. We'll check the desk, then we'll switch over. Wow, look at the size of the Chief Gant's desk. Speaking of that, when we were here earlier...
Oh.
I'm trying to think what thing I give Chief Gant.
It's you two.
Chief Gant. Pulled that paper he was reading in his desk. I wonder what he was reading.
It looks like a list of evidence used in a case.
A list of evidence?
In most cases, the list runs twice as long as this.
Hey, look. Look at the case name.
Huh? SL9 incident. I wonder what this is doing here.
Hold on, Detective. What did you just say?
I said I wonder what...
No, about evidence lists. Normally they're twice as long.
That's right. I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence.
A half-size list of evidence. That list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long.
What would the other half of the list be doing here?
I knew it. The chief must be hiding something about that case.
It would appear so. What is that?
Wow, look at that size.
Okay. Found this inside the drawer. A list of evidence from the SL9 incident.
Mr. Edgeworth had the other half of that list.
What would this list be doing here? We better take a little more look into this list. This is the real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons? Sure is, pal. The chief doesn't care for imitations. First the pipe organ, now this armor? Do you know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone into this room?
What? You mean we're paying for this? That's it. I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes.
You don't have any taxes to pay. Be careful of what you say. Who knows? The chief may be hiding in this armor as we speak. I don't think he'd fit in there.
Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back out.
Cut it out. You guys don't know how scary that guy can be. This, I guess? This is a safe, isn't it? Safe. That word is ripe with intrigue. Okay, if you say so.
Looks like a code needs to be entered in this panel to open it.
A 7-digit number. I think I might know what it is. Do you know what it is? I have a hunch. Oh, I know. You want to try my birthday? It's, I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hell yeah. Big brain me. Chief Gant's ID card number. Bingo.
What number did you enter?
Whose birthday was it, pal? 7777777. I think that was 7 sevens. If there was additional or too many, knock them off or add them up. The final ID card number on that record.
What?
The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. You mean 777777777? That ID number? I think you're 1 7 shy this time. This can only mean one thing. That's Chief Gant's ID number.
Say, anyone care to look inside?
Well, may as well. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away?
Look, it's a...
It's a shot from a broken cup. This somehow looks familiar. Where have I seen this before?
There's something else in here, too.
What's this? It looks like a piece of leather cloth. This is a handprint, isn't it? I was like,
This is a handprint, isn't it?
hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. You think the chief made up that design?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, it was just a thought.
Is that it? Is this all that was in the safe?
Apparently so. It's empty now. Piece of cloth with a handprint on it, and a broken shot from a cup. They look like pieces of evidence. But unless, like, They look like pieces of evidence, but unless you can prove they have something to do with this case, I'm afraid I can't just let you take them. After all, it's my neck on the line here.
Great. Now I have to prove their relevancy to get them. How are these two items related to the SL9 incident? Come on, there's gotta be something we can show the detective.
Well, I think we'll show him the, Do not. Thank you. I think we'll show him this, because that's obviously the last part of the jar. Detective Gumshoe, could you have another look at this jar? All of us put that back together. Oh, those were the days.
It's kind of early to be nostalgic. Wasn't that jar a piece of evidence from that case?
Hey, that's right. One of the shards had the SL9 incident sticker on it.
Doesn't this ring any bells? You know, that fragment we just found?
You mean this one? That was in the safe?
Yeah, that one. That was in the safe.
Now you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits.
Here, let me see that shard. I'll take a crack at this.
Go ahead, pal. Show us what a rookie can do.
Mr. Wright, here's some glue. I can piece this together again. It'll prove Chief Gant was knowingly hiding evidence. Here goes.
Oh, thank God I don't have to do that again. Right. Okay, I'm taking it's this, because that bit's at the top. Looks like the rest of the rim. First try. There. It's like a charm.
That, of course, means Chief Gant willingly and knowingly hid a piece of this jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. But...
Hey guys, get a load of this.
What is it?
This piece of evidence you just attached? It's different from the others.
There's a reddish line on it. A reddish line? That's blood.
I don't get it. Why would Chief Gant hide this in his safe?
Okay, now we need something related to,
this. Oh. Well, hello there.
I wonder what this is. It looks like someone drew some kind of sketch here.
Hang on, got a cough.
What is it? Did you find something? I can't make it out. I'd better keep quiet about this for now. Huh? Oh. No.
No, it's nothing.
Why are your eyes moving about like that, Mr. Wright?
Better not forget about this picture. Okay, and I thought it'd be that, but probably not. Maybe we should go back to Edgeworth then. Actually, we'll check about the other side of the we'll examine everywhere else here.
You can see pretty far from 15 stories up. If you were to drop that suit of armor from here...
At first, the chief wanted to use stained glass for this window.
Really? Why didn't he?
They say he changed his mind because he wouldn't be able to see the view.
Oh.
Stained glass or not, it's a huge window. Okay, let's go over here. This will be Lana's side. Look at that giant window. Makes you want to crash through it and jump outside.
This is the 15th floor.
I know, I was just saying.
Saying what?
Ever since making detective, I've always dreamed about doing something like that.
Note to self, Detective Gumshoe has a lot of dreams.
So long as he doesn't go through crashing through that window. When he gets fired.
Don't say that.
This was Lana's desk. Sure is tidy.
Lana has always been a meticulous cleaner.
Girl after my own heart. I like to keep my things uniform and tidy. Otherwise, everything gets displaced and I forget where it is. You only do that mistake once, then you learn. Or you should learn. There's not even any dust on it. Looks like someone's still keeping it clean. Does Lana ever come back here? No. Chief Gant must still keep it clean in memory of their partnership. They were the stuff our legends are made of.
Does he keep it in memory of her, or in memory of the crime?
Guess we can have a look at this. These shelves are mostly empty. Lana must have cleaned them out when she transferred over to the prosecutor's office. There's a small picture frame on the left shelf.
Hey, this is when Lana and I went to that theme park.
Well, I think we have to go assemble that list of evidence. I don't see anything here. To the prosecutor's office. I'm sorry for not talking more, it's just I don't want to cough into the mic. Right, please. I'm a prosecutor on this case. You don't expect me to sit here and discuss the case with you over a cup of tea? I'll pass on the tea, just tell me about the case.
Mr. Wright, Mr. Edgeworth just told you a no in a very stylish manner.
Maybe if I show him my best evidence, I get some reaction out of him. Maybe not then. I thought he said he had half and he had half. Ah well. Drawing board.
That's what the Chief was reading before, isn't it? You know, when we first came in here...
Yeah. It looks like the right side of the form's been torn off.
So Mr. Edgeworth's list really was the only half of the... was only half of the whole thing.
Something is bugging me more than that. Take a look at the back of that form, pal. The back? So I mean, I thought it was meant to go to Mr. Edgeworth. And, you know, put together the pieces. Was that the trigger for it, or? Yeah, I completely forgot that this was Fire Emblem, that's one thing. I was rushing today. I had, thinky issues. I'll change it now. Yeah, just about... We'll go to, I was just thinking about Edgeworth. Trying to think what I put as the title. I'll do, and then just change it to... that, and... sorted. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what we can do with this now then. Because obviously Edgeworth doesn't want us, I thought, because it's only half of it, it would He would show us, but he's not. We've already shown in the picture. There's clearly something we're missing. At the back? Yeah, I've looked at the back. It's shown like it shows like what's his name? Damn it, didn't mean to do that. Maybe shouldn't have pressed present instead of check. Yeah, if we look at the back, it's this thing. Oh, come on. I looked at it and then it was... I wonder what this is. It looks like someone drew a sketch here. Yeah, it just says that. You know, better not thingy it. It's a picture. Maybe. If I'm fired, I won't be able to give you any information. So that's why I have to get it all out of my system now. You understand, don't you? Don't be so negative, detective. We do want to share information, though. Oh, who am I fooling? I've never had anything useful to Never had anything useful to share to begin with. Gotta stay positive. Okay, been through that before. We've bitten this. Maybe it's the screwdriver? Nope. Oh, that'd be so niche if it's I have to check on the back of it. But it might be, actually. That is actually a clever idea. Points to you, Phoenix. That is actually quite clever. I wouldn't have thought of that. I thought it'd be better to, like, maybe, just maybe, before we try Edgeworth, on the off chance. Never mind, okay. I thought if we show it Emma when she's not, like, when we're alone, she might be a bit more, like, you know, can show it her. Nope, that does nothing. Okay. Time to do the only thing I know how to. Cycle for evidence. Playing Phoenix Wright the true way. Or how everybody plays Phoenix Wright the first time round. Come now, Mr. Wright. You can't seriously expect me to just sit down and chat with you about the case over a cup of tea. But this isn't related to the case, remember? You said so yourself. So I did. Chief Gant gave this to you on the that day, didn't he? Yeah, the half I've got is from Chief Gant's office, but when I present it, it's just like Edgeworth doesn't do anything. He asked you to bring it here from the police department. Chief is a very competent man.
sometimes he does things that don't make any sense. At least it's better than being incompetent and doing things that don't make sense. A certain detective comes to mind. I might have an idea, actually. One half is that jar, and there also was that piece of cloth, wasn't there? Maybe if we use, like, the aluminium powder with the, on the cloth, maybe that'll work? That'd be my thinking, anyway. Might be able to get some prints off it. Detective Gumshoe, I'd like you to have a look at this.
Hey, I know what that is. So you want to take some fingerprints?
That's a great idea, Detective.
All right, go to town. Sheesh.
What are you doing? Why are you sticking your hand out like that?
Go ahead. Take my fingerprints.
It's not your fingerprints we want to take.
Huh?
Come on, this isn't the time for jokes. I thought it was going to be Gumshoe next. We're talking about that cloth we found in the safe.
Oh yeah, I knew that. The one with the handprint on it, right? Sheesh, where's your sense of humor?
Okay, and let's see if I can remember which button I put to be the blow. That's gonna be interesting. It's definitely mapped to something. I'm just gonna have to go over it on my keyboard and guess. Okay, Mr. Wright, let's check for prints. Sprinkle the powder on the cloth. Then once they've been absorbed into the prints, blow the rest away. What are you, my mom? I don't need to be told a million times. I'm a big boy. Alright then, let's get this over with. Go for the forefinger. Or the index. Now we'll just click until my finger wears out, because you want to click to my heart's content to make sure I get a good print. Okay, now, is it... No, it's not C. It's not V. It's E. R. T. Y. Nope, that saves it. Good thing I'm pressing buttons that don't screw me over, isn't it? F, G, G? Okay, and we got there in the end. I gave it my best shot. That kind of result won't be any good for matching fingerprints, will it? It doesn't look like we'll get a clear result from this print. Okay, let's try a different finger then. Okay, let's try this one. That the thumb. So now we know that G. Yes, I forgot to... I think I can actually hook up my microphone when I blow into it to actually work with the microphone on the DS. Yeah, my totally legit DS. But you know, it's a rookie thing. I've got a cough. It's got completely weak. I guess Damon Gant's the obvious one we need to check. Yeah, my completely overclocked DS, yeah. No, that doesn't match. Looks like we're out of clues this time. Yeah. But it was inside the chief's safe. Right, along with that shard. So that means it's got to have something to do with this incident. The one that happened right here in this room. She's right. Yeah. Those things only show up because, you know, I've got I'm recording with my computer. It's connected to my DS. That's why those things come up. It's definitely that.
The way I see it, there's a higher power at work here. You just gotta have faith.
Well, if it's not Damon Gant, Lana's probably a good shout then. No. I don't have Joe Dark or Thingy's Prince, do I? It could be Emma, or it could be if it's not Lana, Emma was there, so it could be Emma's Prince. I think we got it. No. How can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here? Hey, you found a match? Whose fingerprints were they? It seems the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match. Oh, that's too bad. I thought they'd be Dark's prints.
Hey you, over here. What's going on here? What are the kids' prints doing inside the chief's safe?
Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma for now.
Here. Maybe you should hold on to this.
Maybe we show Gumshoe the thing of Emma now? Anything else on it? No, just the prints. This is a handprint, right? Yeah, someone left behind an oil stain on the fabric. Whoever it was, they must have had a really oily hand. Mr. Wright, think about it scientifically. Huh? A more likely explanation is the person slipped and fell on a freshly waxed floor, getting wax all over their hand. Well, that would account for this amount of oil, I guess. I don't see what could be so scientific about it, though. It happens, you know. I always slip on floors at school after they're waxed. Maybe I show him this to connect it to that? What's this strip of cloth, anyway?
It's smooth and sort of feels like vinyl. I think I felt something like this before. Nah, I can't remember.
Seems it's becoming a habit with you.
I can't keep anything in my head lately.
Note to self, Detective Gumshoe is going senile. Emma's fingerprints were found on this cloth. I have a bad feeling about this. We'll connect it to this. Maybe I look at it now then, because I know that Emma's fingerprints were on it. With her, and this looks like the killing. Wonder what... I am confuzzled. Maybe we show it to everybody else? That's what I'm thinking, show Edgeworth the cloth. Because him and Gumshoe were the only two people I really
It might be Emma that I have to show this to. Or not Emma, Lana. I think that's her name. Yeah, no Edgeworth, but Lana might react to it. Because it's, you know, it's Emma's prince. Kane. Nope, she is just stonewalling us. Might be the picture, that's a good shout. It's a good shout. Though, show maybe the picture on the back might do something. No. Maybe, like, check it in her presence? There'll be no point zooming in or out. Oh wait, it might be a stupid thing. What if I zoom right in? Does it change? As far as like, oh, I can't make it out because I've not got it all the way zoomed in. So it's got to be something still with Gumshoe. Oh, I think I know what it is. I think I know what it is now. This was taken on the day 2 years ago. The day Joe Dark ran out of the questioning room and tried to kill Emma. After receiving his award trophy, Mr. Marshall took a picture here and went along with Chief Gant to question Dark. Bet he never knew he'd be dead in just a few hours later. Gee, you think? Okay. This might be stupid. Let's try it. Damn it. I thought the cloth looked like, thingy. His, like, I don't know, the thing he's got, the thing Officer Marshall has on his shirt. Has over his shirt. So I thought I was like, doesn't it look familiar, Gumshoe? Connected, right? Huh. Something like this. That's the ID card record, isn't it? Yeah, we fixed the trophy. The trophy's fixed now. Yep, there's only one number left to investigate. 420. The good old number. The victim, Detective Goodman, must have entered the evidence room along with somebody else. Someone with an executive office number. 7 times 7. That's 127. Yeah, executive officer. Might have a hunch. Maybe. Oh wait, you can't. There's something like use this. You have to present this to him to be like luminol it. Hey, I just bought some of that stuff. Now I can go around detecting blood traces too. Wow, is that a new type? I've never seen that bottle before. Add 3 inches to your base height. Base height? Let me see that. Looming tall. New and improved growth formula. You mean this can't detect any blood traces?
Well, it's not quite the same thing as luminol.
So that's why the lady at the counter had that smirk on her face.
Oh well. Yeah, I think we tried this.
I feel a lot better now that jar's complete.
Only raises another question. What was a piece of cloth doing in the chief's safe?
More importantly, why wasn't there any money in there? Isn't that what safes are for anyway?
I have a feeling the outcome of tomorrow's trial might just hinge on this. It's not any of these. It's not gonna be the video. It's not gonna be Marshall's prints. It's not gonna be the jar. Try the glove. Won't be the evidence room. It won't be that. It won't be the screwdriver. Fingerprint record. It won't be that. Won't be the luminol. Switchblade.
This knife belonged to the murderer Joe Dark, right? You bet. If it wasn't for that piece of evidence, it wouldn't have been found guilty. This broken tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body.
Ever since that case was solved, this knife's been in Detective Goodman's locker. How could it have possibly gone into Edgeworth's car? Not only that, but it was wrapped in Lana's scarf.
What's even more mysterious, whether that's called a scarf or a muffler. Answer me that, pal.
It's not gonna be the shoe, it's not gonna be the photo, it's not gonna be that, it's not gonna be that, it's not gonna be Edgeworth's knife, it's not gonna be SL9, it's not gonna be Goodman's autopsy, it's not gonna be this, that, or this, or that. I am stumped. I think, are we just... I've not presented everything to Edgeworth, because I was like, oh, we'll just go how it feels, how we, you know, how it goes, but we'll present everything to him now then. Go from back to front. I doubt it's the knife, though. Although it is that piece of evidence. Maybe it's the vase? Oh, the actual trophy? No, it wouldn't hurt if you put this up somewhere, like on a shelf. That has no meaning for me anymore. What do you mean, anymore? That's who I was last year. What good is it to dwell on the past? He's asking me? That makes me kinda mad. You won't know it, Emma. You're quite happy there. Actually, something's been troubling me about this shield. Look, you notice anything different? Different? Yeah, don't you remember? The other shield in the court record. Guess I'd better present this other shield. Don't have another shield, I just have picture, which we've already been through. Yeah, that was the prompt for this, though, before, which we've already done. Prosecutor Marshall, speaking of that. Trophy Mr. Marshall's holding, it's a bit different. Yeah, it was it's that story, and we got a different, Oh, I swear to God, if it's this, if we've made the same mistake that we have before, and it's really dumb because we haven't talked to Gumshoe while he's been in Gant's office, but we've talked to him here. Please, for the love of God, tell me that's not the right one. Oh, screw you. Oh. So, it doesn't... Screw it. That desk was on the other side of the room. Was that your sister's? Yeah, that's where I was waiting for Lana. On that day 2 years ago. Is anyone using it now?
No, sir. It's entirely Chief Gant's office.
Okay, we've already talked to Gumshoe, right? In one place. So I was like, don't need to talk to him again, because I've already talked to him. What more has he got to say? That was my logic. I was thinking, oh, it's probably just so you can talk to him again if you refresh yourself on the case. So dumb, so stupid.
No, sir. It's entirely Chief Gant's office now. He practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene.
That's a reason to leave it there. There's a strange reason to leave it there.
He leaves it as a...
Hold him back.
He leaves it as a warning to everybody else. He wants us to always be alert. He told us so himself at our New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time.
I see. So ever since Lana left, no one ever touches that desk?
No one except Chief Gant and the cleaning lady who was in here each morning.
Still, 2 years have passed since that incident. There can't possibly any clues remaining.
That might be a clue. Can I ask you something?
Sure.
You only came here to look around, right? Because if it's one of those SL9 crime scenes. I mean, that's your only reason for coming here, isn't it?
Why do you ask?
You don't think? Nah. You wouldn't be.
No.
No, there's no way. Never mind. Don't worry about it.
Okay, let's have a look around a bit more.
Hey, hold on. Not so fast, buddy.
Huh? What is it?
When someone tells you don't worry about it, it's supposed to stop bothering you, pal. You just don't let it go at that.
Sorry, this guy's starting to get on my nerves. Kane, what's bothering you?
You two don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you?
What? Yeah, Mr. Wright, what do we think of him? Chief Gant. So it's finally come to this. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best if I don't divulge my feelings. Yet.
Here he goes, ignoring me again. Well, was I any help?
Of course. Thanks to your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence. Oh, come on. I can't believe it was the talking to Gumshoe. Okay, and I have to remember what voice I give Chief Gant. It's more like a...
Hey, yo, Righto. Now that's not very kind, is it? In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, he would have been useless. Isn't that right, you in the coat?
Eek!
Chief Gant.
We didn't think you'd be back so soon.
Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in signs. As I was walking to my meeting, I happened to look out a window and saw a stray dog run right into a pole. Just then, I thought of a certain detective. Do you mean me, sir? Now then, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to leave.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Oh, you in the coat? Me, sir? Drop off your ID on the way out. You won't be needing it anymore. But sir... Now get out. Yes, sir.
Yeah. We'll be on our way too then.
Wait. Wait. You, the one without the spiky hair. Don't go yet.
Me, sir?
I'd like a word with you.
But sir, I'm not a licensed scientific investigator.
You with the spiky hair, you're free to go.
Mr. Wright?
Look, pal. If I told you once, I told you 1,000 times. The chief's office is off limits. But no, you had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you?
I thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were fired.
Yeah, but if I knew... yeah, but if I knew it'd be like this, I never would have said it.
I do, yeah. Sort of bigs him up, doesn't he? Not addressing people by name. He's just like, yep, you person. Bigs up his ego. Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gant was hiding in his office, I think I'm finally starting to get the picture. It's hard to believe anyone could keep quiet about it all this time.
Anyway, you listening to me? I'm gonna try smooth things over with Chief Gant with the chief again. Later, pal.
After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police want to ask her some questions. So she'll be busy for the rest of the day. I see. So the chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. It's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here. But I've already told you all I can. What you've told me over these past couple days is absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing. Really? I believe I did mention something quite important. Something I told you right at the beginning. I said that I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman. You know, I think I finally figured it out. Who it is you're hiding behind those words. Mia did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. Seems Edgeworth was right.
Edgeworth?
Once you're convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term he used, I believe. Now's my chance to get her to tell me the rest of the story. I have to admit, I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted that you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. That's when it hit me. It's not that you're unwilling to tell the truth. It's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual. What an intriguing notion. A certain individual, you say. So you think I'm protecting this person?
Protecting? No, I think you're afraid of is more like it.
If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, for whom, may I ask, is this person you're speaking of? What I'm supposed to be so frightened of. What is this person's name?
Big orange beardy fellow.
Well, Miss Sky? Mr. Wright, you're addressing the Chief Prosecutor. Do not forget your place.
I take it she's still not ready to spill the beans.
My apologies. Could you please tell me a bit more about the circumstances?
We were partners until 2 years ago. So much text and trying to hold off a cough while doing it is difficult.
I respected him as a detective.
Assuming he is respectable, then tell me something. Why would he try to hide his crimes?
His crimes?
Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically hiding and forging evidence.
Of course, these are serious offenses.
Why is it though that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned?
Chief Gant?
Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly... if I could speak properly, that'd be great. The only party who could have possible investigated that evidence. Who could have possible investigated? Is that me, or is that just bad grammar? The only party who could have possible investigated that evidence was... It's meant to be the only party who could have possibly investigated that evidence was, right?
Me. I had access because I was second in command of that investigation.
Yes, you, and one other. Damon Gant.
If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you'll need more than just words. Show me proof that Chief Gant was falsified evidence in that case.
Switchblade, mate. You want proof of the Chief's wrongdoings? Here it is.
That evidence proves someone is doing something wrong, but it's not the Chief.
Who would that be?
Why, you, of course.
Me?
Yes. You seriously believe that you're saying you don't... What you're saying, don't you? Now that's scary. You seem to have the makings of a criminal in you, with all your fallacious accusations. Care to spend tonight in the next cell?
If you ask me, you're the scary one. Clearly, I didn't get that right. Do we go with the cloth, or do we go with this? Yeah, probably the trophy. Will it be the evidence list? Because I know he's hiding it, but it's only half. I just want to try my way first. I just found this in a safe in the chief's office. This jar piece and this strip of cloth. Right, I just shoved the cloth. Do not screw me. Do you know what these are? These are pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. The person concealing evidence was none other than Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him?
Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you surmised. I cannot disobey the Chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty of murder.
Why not?
Come now, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate.
In the murder of Detective Goodman?
Or perhaps I should say follow orders. Yes, that's more accurate than cooperate. Although I can't tell you the details, I can say that I was given an order that day. I need you to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. You'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car.
Just as I suspected. Despite what everyone believes, you weren't the one who murdered Detective Goodman.
Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk was broken. I discovered that murder weapon while inspecting the body.
The murder weapon? You mean Edgeworth's knife?
No. When I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it.
The knife from the SL9 incident. Serial killer Joe Dark's knife.
I couldn't just leave him I couldn't just leave that knife in him. So I took it out and stabbed him with another knife.
That would be Edgeworth's knife.
That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand.
And that's the reason for the bandage on your right hand.
Yeah. It seems like I got blood on the victim's shoes as well.
And then...
she saw me just as I plunged the knife in.
Miss Starr. Why did you need to hide hide Dark's knife so badly?
It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want it to be opened again. My intent was to prevent that by whatever means possible.
So you hid Dark's knife.
The weapon used to stab the detective was evidence in the Joe Dark case. If word got out, which it would, the reporters would have a field day with that.
So you wrapped the knife up in your scarf and hid it. In Edgeworth's exhaust pipe.
Right. Then I called my sister to tell her what happened and to ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler.
You asked Emma?
I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this.
That would explain why Emma is so confident about Lana's innocence.
Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day.
A bad feeling?
The truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to patrolman Drake Marshall.
To Marshall? Why on earth would you call him?
The lead investigator for the SL9 incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden, and I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust. Or at least I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seems that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own.
Oh, you mean...
Not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands.
He disguised himself as Officer Goodman and tried to steal the evidence.
He had already stolen the ID card, but it seemed he still hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. After my phone call, any remaining doubts he must have had.
I'm awful today, I apologize.
After my phone call, any remaining doubts he must have had.
He had must have disappeared. So your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room?
I'm afraid that's all I can tell you.
But Lana...
You've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow.
Tomorrow's trial. There's only one way to drive off Lana's demons.
I've got to get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer? And what went down in the Chief Gant's office 2 years ago? We're going to be continued, because we're going straight on to the end. This will, mark my goddamn words, will be the last episode of Phoenix Wright. I ain't leaving it on a cliffhanger this time. Also, I've got time. This is the defendant's lobby, alright, but there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma, for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Edgeworth? Yeah. Thought so. Edgeworth. Knowing you've already figured it out. Who the owner of 7777777 ID number is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt on this ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged or anything. True, not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling on the defendant. 5 minutes after the trial starts, Lana will be found guilty. But she didn't do it. I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here to, hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth? Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today is the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court. Right. This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. Okay. Finish my water. Whew. Let's do this. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gant? Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, Edgy. Have you been back to the pool yet? Oh, you're Udgy, sorry. Yeah. I forgot he gives him that nickname. No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Oh, that is a good one. Don't think I can top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is it what is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everybody a lot of time and trouble.
What is this all about, defendant?
I'd just like to make one simple request and I'll be finished.
Well then, what is your request?
Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial.
Huh?
I confess to all the charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot in the prosecutor's office.
No, Lana. Slam table. You can't. Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea.
In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services.
I'm still getting paid, right? No, like, if she cuts me off here, she still has to bill me for the 2 days investigation I've already put into this. But Lana.
Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven in its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you do please.
Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although it is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. The court finds the defendant. Cheers, Edgy. One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth? Prosecution has not yet proven the defendant's guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Like me. Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, Oh, he's doing the finger wagging. He means business. I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer your naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal, Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh, to whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony.
Mr. Edgeworth.
Sorry, that's a bit too high for Lana.
Mr. Edgeworth, I'm exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue.
I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. Oh, damn, Edgeworth just laying the hammer down. Couldn't care. Couldn't give two cents what you think, love.
The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy.
Oh, sorry. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy, you'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Ms. Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation.
My name is Emma Sky. My occupation, I'm Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator.
2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct?
Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though.
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember that this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. An incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all... Is that incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes. It most certainly is. Well, okay then. You sure gave in fast. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. The thing is, how this actually wouldn't work out in, like, because Phoenix has basically just been let go by Lana, so he really has no horse to play in this fight anymore. We go great. Coughing and yawning has started now. Brilliant.
I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me. But I'll never forget what I saw that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest.
It's a good thing you weren't harmed.
I passed out. I don't remember much.
That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth. What does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Very well. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. Yeah, just... Edgeworth's just like, yeah, I'll just bat this back to Wright. I've got nothing. He better have something. 2 years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, correct?
Yes. She was second in command under Chief Detective Gant. My sister. She was the best detective ever.
Yes, I remember. Chief Detective Gant and Miss Sky used to be quite the pair. I believe they shared the same office.
That's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. I wanted to play it that day too.
The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day.
Lana promised to take me to dinner after she was finished with her work.
God, the similarities between her and Mia. She died. You know, someone dies the day after she was meant to take her to work. Man came running in, took hostage. A man?
Yes, Joe Dark. He was a serial killer.
Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on that day of the ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right? Upon fleeing, Dark proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Sky and Gant's office.
There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened the door to have a look. That's when I saw him.
What was the prosecutor doing there?
That day, there were two people present during Dark's questioning. Detective Damon Gant and Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Gant was there too. Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony. I assume that would also be why he was the first to run. I made way too many mistakes. I'm not tired or anything. I'm just not at the races. I assume that would also be why he was the first to run after Dark. When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead. And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in. I don't clearly remember what happened then, but can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark and then just... the lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out. Wait a minute. If it was pitch black in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but just then lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. That's him all. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yeah. That's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw? Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. A picture? Yeah, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? This picture the witness drew. I believe it has a very important meaning. The list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. Press this and then we'll show the picture. You drew a picture on the scene you witnessed, right? Yeah. I wanted to do everything I could to help in the investigation. I still can see it now, whenever I close my eyes. That's strange. I took over the case after Prosecutor Marshall died. Yet I never received any picture. Perhaps the witness is mistaken? But I did draw it. I swear, I'm not just imagining it. Imagining it. That picture that Emma drew, that reminds me. Guess I should check the evidence again. Anyway, let's continue. This scene that imprinted an image in your mind. Can you please describe it to us? That man. That must have been a real shock. Even now when I close my eyes, I can still see it just as clearly. Tell us, what were you doing at that moment? I believe you testified that Joe Dark was holding you hostage. When lightning struck and the lights went out, Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. I was thrown aside and the two began wrestling with each other. I'm pretty sure I was watching them. Emma doesn't have any reason to lie, but Lana sure does. I need to get Emma to tell me as much about this as she can. Okay? Let's bring this out. Mr. Edgeworth. This little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. Slam table. And yet you still insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that, as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture.
That may well be. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold.
This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident.
Please turn it over, Your Honor.
Turn it over? What's this?
Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew.
Indeed. Two men appear to be wrestling here.
What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list.
Huh? These lists, they're different from each other.
What?
It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists, fit together to form one. You can see the marks where they were torn apart from each other.
So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What?
Order, order. Who would have thought that the picture would have been drawn on the back of the list?
That was handed to Detective Goodman in the questioning room? Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor.
Well, might, Mr. Wright, your eyes are bulging from your head.
Like how he just palms that off. Phoenix is like, brushes off, war off a duck's back. Insult me all you want. I've got something to say. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might have been more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list.
Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth.
It's, possible. Let's see.
Is something wrong?
Do you even have to ask? I'm sorry, Your Honor. There's something drawn on the back of my list. This is that.
That's that thing. That thing that was dancing in the evidence room.
Apparently, the head of the criminal affairs used this for his blueprint. I guess he was out of scrap paper. Yeah, that's true.
Very well, witness. Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago?
I always like to think that this is like you're on like court TV or something like that. Like I know in America they have court TV where they actually show like footage from the courtroom. So I like to imagine that it's that, and like when it shakes, it's literally just like the cameraman being like, "Whoa," and adding like doing it himself to add drama. Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seems to be thinking about something when she saw the picture. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were the shadows. After that, I must have fainted. And that picture shows exactly what I saw that instant.
To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind.
Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw.
Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Did you draw this picture right after the incident?
I think I drew it about 2 or 3 days later. At first, I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything.
During that time, the detective team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge, under the direction of Damon Gant and Lana Skye.
2 or 3 days later. The memory should still have been fresh in her mind.
Excuse me, witness. But can you please tell us why this picture is painted all black?
So at the time you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue? No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor.
You were knocked to the floor?
Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around and that's when the lightning flashed.
Poor Emma. I'm glad she just wasn't hurt. What happened after the lightning flashed? You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place?
No, I'm sorry.
The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. You really need to torture this girl any further.
What?
Hey, I'm not the bad guy here.
Anyway, this picture.
Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw?
Of course, this is the exact scene.
It wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with the detectives. What are you insinuating? Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? No, of course not. I'd better watch out or he might find some way to cut my salary.
I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me.
Mr. Wright, is there something that's been bothering you about this picture?
Well...
That's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind, and yet, there's clearly a contradiction here. I guess the image itself. No. No, okay, I screwed up. Just for my own sake, I'm just gonna do a little bit of a cheeky thing that, you know, definitely. I think the picture shows exactly what I saw in this instant. It's, well, I know what the contradiction is. The contradiction is that you can't see exactly who is who. I'm trying to think what the piece of evidence would be to actually prove that. Oh! Oh! I think never mind. Is it that? I have two contradictions, so I think I get it. I'd hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction.
What? But I still remember it like it was yesterday.
Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report?
Him. This guy. Him.
This bloke. I think it's this part here? I don't see anything strange about that.
That's because the drawing stinks. Mr. Wright? How could you...
The act of making an innocent girl cry should warrant the death penalty.
Guess he means I shouldn't shift the blame to others.
Yes, so so long as the defense has learned its lesson.
Better take another look at that autopsy report in this picture.
Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out the contradiction for us.
Oh, this picture, right, okay. Is it the knife then? Because he's aiming, you know, is it him? Because he's stabbing him from the front? I'm confuzzled because I don't actually know what to press. Is it the knife? Nope. Of course, the contradiction lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. I always couldn't see what my thinking was then was like the person, because the person is facing towards the bloke, which means you can't stab him from the back. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see the tip is broken. Is it? I mean, it looks like he's just stabbing him with a ruler. I agree that I agree with Phoenix. This drawing sucks.
In fact, you don't even have to look closely to see that.
Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Tip is broken too.
I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body.
It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. Huh? Where could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken.
Ah! What's the meaning of this?
Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside of the victim's body. If it were broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there.
That's right, but what does this mean?
The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is that the witness's memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at that time, but she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Yep. I agree with that, Mew. Welcome to Ace Attorney Hell, where it's 16 different objections and I never get the answer right first time round. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already? About a little something called, I don't know, falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, right? All I'm saying is that this broken knife might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Ugh.
Order! Are you saying this investigation really was corrupted?
Your Honor, please allow me once again to go over the events that took place on the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the murder weapon.
There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances that of there being 2 broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's. Could there have been one? Well, technically there could have been. Yeah. Technically. If the witness is adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained by a simple observational error. Mr. Wright? In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume, then, that you have some information about this other broken knife. If so, feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder, and there's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's a real murder weapon. I think I have it. No promises, and I've gone past it, to be fair, so that's a great start. I think I used this. The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past, to be exact. Right here inside this picture. This is a picture of the award ceremony. Haha. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. It is good. Yeah, watching this, all it makes me think is half of being an attorney is just spontaneous lying. To be fair, it's well, not spontaneous lying, but just pulling stuff out of the ether and then being like, "This will get me to this place. If I can prove this bit, you know, it'll work." Notice that the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding. That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the picture was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood this award. Yeah, it's lucky guessing and pulling stuff out of your ass. I will. Yeah, I agree with you there, Phoenix. Order. Neil Marshall was awarded the King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and broken knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that just can't be. Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutors Award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would have been reversed. What do you mean? I mean, the man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What's going on here? It seems Mr. Wright has been too eager to jump to conclusions. Wait, I remember now. I remember everything. Of course you do, Emma, because coincidence is a wonderful thing. Witness? Mr. Edgeworth? What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back? I knew it. This picture? I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part deep away inside me. Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you've recalled, Miss Sky?
Yes, Your Honor.
First the knife mix-up and now the blue badger? This should be interesting.
When I saw the man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow.
This is certainly most unusual. Try impossible. The head detective of the criminal affairs didn't even design him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Stop, please. Don't pursue this any further.
Lana. What is the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair.
But you can't do this. I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that?
Chief Prosecutor Sky. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence. The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. Seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. Okay. When you say that man, I assume you refer to Joe Dark.
Yeah, at least I think it was him.
You think?
All I could really see were shadows.
Power outage that immediately preceded the incident. It's also documented in the prosecutor's office's reports. So then you... Why would you do something so dangerous?
What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall.
She seems convinced that Joe Dark was the one holding the knife. But as we have just theorized, Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife.
Well, I didn't know that at the time. When that Dark guy knocked me down, all I could think of is, I've got to help Mr. Marshall.
What do you mean, you think?
It all happened so fast, and I was in shock. I don't remember everything clearly. What I did, it was all kind of a blur.
In a matter of just a few seconds, Miss Sky was almost killed, and then she witnessed a murder about to take place. A little disorientation is only natural.
I saw the man about to stab the other person, who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife.
What you did was very brave, young girl. So then, what happened next? Are you sure about this?
Of course, see? I even drew a picture of him here.
But the head detective of the criminal affairs fought up this hideous beast. And that was just this year. Blue Badger didn't exist until 2 years ago. It's all quite verifiable.
I know it sounds strange. I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling I'd seen him somewhere before. Now I finally remember.
Oh, brother. Just when you thought just when you thought that thing had caused enough commotion. Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing? So, what happened was, the Blue Badger traveled back in time to this exact moment for like 2 seconds and then popped out into the present. That's definitely the rationale. His shadow? So you mean you didn't actually see his face with its winning smile and all?
That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns.
This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken. That may well be. But what's important here is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh, and I suppose you have an explanation. If so, then by all means, tell us what this shadow really was. What was it that Emma saw when the lightning flashed? Who is this blue badger, really? I think I know. The blue badger hadn't even been dreamed up when Emma drew this picture. Yet she's certain she saw the shadow. Oh, I know why you're telling me this part sucks now, Phoenix. I remember. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on this fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looks similar to the blue badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright?
In this room? Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in this instant?
I believe... Is this weird-looking thing? The mysterious blue badger was in fact this weird thing.
But that's... what exactly is that?
I believe it's some sort of jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint?
Our viewpoint?
I've got to show them that the correct angle. Gotta show them that the correct angle to look like this was from... Right, okay. You're gonna have to forgive me for this, because I think I remember which way this was, and it's very tedious. Wait, hang on. Okay. I think it's something like this. Well, is this a miracle or what? Oh, got it in one. I remember it being very tedious when doing it before. That's the only reason. No one can possibly deny the jar's resemblance to the blue badger. Wait, is it at... Wait, so I just got extremely lucky, then, with it being that precise. Hell yeah, I'll take that. No, it can't be. We'll just get, that's what Edgeworth said, and then...
Order, order.
Okay, we're up to date.
The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger who witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this...
Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So the badger thing was actually a jar. That doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. Indeed. Very well then. Please tell us what's different now that we know what's different now that we know the witness saw this jar? The location, the murder weapon, the murderer. The location will be the same. The murder weapon, I doubt. The murderer might change. Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. Not only that, but she saw it at a very specific angle. Knowing this, where could she have seen this jar?
Where?
The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. On a shelf in the office of Damon Gant. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. I'm getting to it. Pipe down. Yes, and that is... Sorry, couldn't let out that cough. Yes, and it is these two facts that reveal actually what transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room in Chief Gant's office. You're implying that the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office. Yes. Why would he do that? Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason.
Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright?
I finally figured it out. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying?
That would have to have been the impact of the man. The impact the man made when he knocked into the wall.
Ladies and gentlemen, I may draw your attention to the picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? Ah!
A suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous-looking sword.
Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have had Neil Marshall wielding the Prosecutor's Award. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes. There is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room.
Another possibility?
Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless. I don't know if I can go through with this.
Mr. Wright, what's the matter?
If events took place at as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Skye knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall, she might have accidentally killed him. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No! Don't have to make my own sound effects for that one. I never imagined her testimony would lead to this.
So it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented.
What? What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Skye, but given the circumstances, Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin this crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. Oh, Burn Edgeworth. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't.
Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence.
If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony.
I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead.
We certainly can't get dead people to testify. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Touche, Miss Sky. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility.
You mean there's still another possibility?
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind a name of a person who took his life. Somehow.
That's impossible.
Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. Message from the deceased. Does such a message exist?
I've got to think back to the court record. The real murderer's name on the victim... It's in the evidence, I believe. This message from the deceased is already in our possession.
Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer?
Do not be mistaken, Miss Sky. Our purpose is to accuse Emma of Our purpose is to not accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing that we seek: the truth. No matter how painful it may be.
Now then, Mr. Wright, show us the piece of evidence that conveys the message from the deceased.
I believe it's this. Oh, it's meant to be this. This is the message left by the deceased.
This is that blue badger from before, right?
Oh, is he going to just speak the killer's name?
If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgotten that this is just a jar. A message was left here, on the surface of this jar.
What do you mean?
If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice, for some reason, the blood on some of the fragments was not wiped.
Yes, there's a line here, drawn in blood.
So what you're saying is these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall didn't die instantly. He used the precious few moments he had left to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away. Blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed direction. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent.
No.
Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us?
Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal to us the answer. All I've got to do is connect the dots to make some letters. There's only one thing that the victim could have written given the circumstances. Murderer's name. Well, let's connect the dots, because I'm good at that. So, cool. I'm trying to work out how to look in this, and then this, and then this, and then I have no idea. It's Emma, right? Okay. Yeah, I knew that. I knew her name, definitely. Boom. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. It's a defense attorney's duty to prove his client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. Very dramatic, isn't it? After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message the Prosecutor Marshall left behind.
Of all people, she may not have been meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life
Was Emma Sky.
Seaworthy, can't say I didn't warn you.
Chief Gant.
Do you understand the implications of what you've done?
What? What are you talking about?
2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in that case, were you not?
Ack.
Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction.
Slam's table. But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable.
I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know? We aren't defenders of justice.
What?
We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death, it's no light matter. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery. Ultimately, the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied.
What's going on in the prosecutor's office? They might have sent an innocent man to his death. How can he just stand there like it wasn't his fault?
Order, 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 order!
The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. Hello, it's me from the future. I've decided to cut it here because it was getting a bit too long. And with that said, I want to thank you guys for watching. This will be on YouTube, so all this was streamed live from Twitch. If you want to check out the Twitch channel, interact with me, or just watch live, that'd be great. There should be a link to that as well as all my other stuff down in the description below. I want to thank you guys for watching one final time, and bye-bye.